sir.
Let's go to the Dallas Stars. This owner likes to roast Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn too. It's a very interesting dynamic. I've never seen an owner hate his own players so much. So like it's I could get criticizing players, but it seems like every offseason he's like, these guys suck, and it's very peculiar moving. But let's
it's your players. They suck. They're your players.
You paid them that millions. Like let's call it. Let's keep it honest. You got 9.8 for 9.85 for Seguin and 9.5 for Jamie and Ben, and Joel Pavelski at 5.5 at this age would seem a lot, but he was kind of productive last season.
Yeah.
Heiskanen on the back end, young 23. That's when you pay them, is when they're young at 8.4 mil. Linden 5.8. I mean, there's nothing crazy here, and then you have the future in net with Oettinger. Like the future is very, very bright in that. So let's
Oettinger was an animal last season. The guy is just amazing.
So let's get right into it. Jason Robertson is not signed yet, by the way. He is a restricted free agent, but he had a phenomenal year last year. 74 games played, 41 goals, 38 assists for 79 points. Over a point per game. That is awesome. You have Rope Hintz, 25-year-old. Now he's actually signed. That's good. 80 games played, 37 goals, 35 assists for 72 points.
Hintz is nice.
He is nuts.
Yeah, he is a really good playmaking, scoring. He is very talented with the puck. He is very good. I like him a lot.
Me too. I think they have a very bright future, honestly. Yeah. Now, Joe Pavelski, oh my God, Pavelski. Pavelski. I don't know why I just did that. 82 games played, 27 goals, 54 assists for 81 points. Almost a point per game, right? This man has the fountain of youth, right? He's on that TB12 diet, I guess.
No. Hold on. I want you to understand. My man has played on the San Jose Sharks when they were the hot thing, and he's still going, still putting up big numbers. He is definitely found the fountain of youth when it comes to hockey. He's brilliant. He's one of those guys that he just knows how to play the game, and it doesn't matter what age he is. He's gonna have one of those Thornton-like careers.
You know what's crazy? When they got him in Dallas, people were like, "Oh, you're getting a wash, Pavelski." Like it's like it was crazy. So I like that. I like how this guy has really defied the odds. Yeah. You got Mason Marchment, 27 years old, 54 games played, 18 goals, 29 assists for 47 points. That's a pretty good point per game clip. Mm-hmm. And then you have the owner hatred, Jamie Benn. 82 games played, 18 goals, 28 assists, 46 points. Then you have his twin brother in hatred, Tyler Seguin. 81 games, 24 goals, 25 assists for 49 points. Now, I'm not trying to overstate this, but Ben and Seguin have been failures. They have not lived up to those contracts. And I'm not necessarily surprised as a Bruins fan. I watched Tyler Seguin when he was young, very streaky. And when he wanted to play, he was really good. But it's when he wanted to play. Yeah. Jamie Benn, I just think... I think he's one of these guys that's just not going to play forever, right? I mean, like if you look at Pavelski, I would take Pavelski at the age of 40 over Jamie Benn at the age of 33. Like I would take Pavelski 2 years from now over Jamie Benn because Jamie Benn's just not the same player. He's just not.
Well, I think the owner just fell into the trap that most owners are falling into this year, where they paid these guys a lot of money early to an age that they weren't sure if they were going to produce. And what's happening a lot is you're paying guys that maybe had a brilliant season, maybe had one or two brilliant seasons, but they haven't, really gone out and shown that they can get it done. I mean, they're good players, hands down. I give them a lot of credit because they are good players. They're not living up to the 9 mil plus contracts. I would say these guys are 6.5 if they have a good season, right, and then like the $5 million range on their regular seasons like they did last season.
I mean, I honestly I would pay them at the max 4 at this point because they're just washed. It's funny, right? Look at the pay difference, right? This first, well, I don't know, Robinson's not here yet, but these two players don't even add up to one of these players. It's just crazy. And the point production's
way better.
Yeah. So the third line, you have Marian Stanek, 32 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. He was claimed on waivers. Radek Faksa, 77 games played, 5 goals, 14 assists, 19 points. Luke Glendening, 82 games played, 9 goals, 7 assists, 16 points. I don't know why Glendening's over. Okay, whatever. Let's go to the fourth line. Joel Carvanta. This is why this cap-friendly depth chart don't make sense sometimes. Carvanta, 56 games played, 1 goal, 6 assists, 7 points. Jacob Peterson on an ELC, 65 games played, 12 goals, 5 assists, 17 points. And then you have Denis Guryanov, 73 games played, 11 goals, 20 assists for 33 points. Now, personally...
You mean Dennis?
Dennis.
Dennis, you want to make his name all nice and sparkly?
Dennis? Yeah, I know.
Dennis? No, Dennis.
It's Russia, so. But all jokes aside here, yeah. I think Peterson goes up the next line. I think Guryanov goes up the next line. I think that would make the most sense to me because they're younger players and you should be wanting to have more minutes.
Well, I mean, Peterson probably keep him on that line just one more year of development before you push him up because Faksa is, I mean, he's 28. He should kind of be hitting his prime. I say Glendening moves down and Guryanov. Dennis. I think Dennis moves up to that third line. In my opinion, and I think that will solidify your lines in a better way. Yeah.
I mean, I think this is like an average. I mean, I'm looking at it; it's just kind of average. Unless Benn and Seguin kind of regain even 3/4 of their form, it's just like an average to an above average offense at times. Because Dallas had trouble scoring sometimes, so I don't know if there's enough scoring here, personally. So, I don't know, just like an average NHL. I think they'll be streaky, because like Dallas Seguin's streaky, but, I mean, what are your thoughts?
No, I definitely agree with you on that. I think they're going to be streaky. They're going to be the team that sneaks one out from different teams. Not because they're super talented, but because their first line, people will look at them and consider them the second line, just because of maybe their pay scale. But, when you have two lines that technically can produce, I think that they can sneak out a game or two. Now, in an honest opinion, I think that Seguin and Benn and Marchment probably face the top defensive pairings, whereas the Hintz, Robertson, and Pavelski line probably played like the second defensive pairing and had a little bit more of a break to get more offense going. So it's probably one of those situations where this season the Hintz line will probably get more coverage from the top defensive pairing, and maybe it gives a little more room for Ben and Seguin to actually roam around and do a little bit more and gain some of their form back. But obviously we have to wait and see. But I think that's what will happen, where they're not the second line's numbers will go up, and maybe the first line's numbers kind of stay where they're at or drop just a little bit. I think that they now, seeing everything in retrospect from last season to this season, teams will respect that line a little bit more instead of just saying, "Oh, that's an old Pavelski," and we don't
two young kids,
right? Two young kids, probably not going to do much, and I think that's where it's going to kind of like flip flop between the two lines. And if they can get both lines going, then they're going to be one of those teams that could definitely sneak some games out, because if you're not ready for two lines that are just going to come at you, a team like this is just going to take it to you all night.
So let's go to the defense here. You got Ryan Sutter. Mm-hmm. He's played a while, 37 years old, but he's still performing at a decent level.
Yeah.
82 games played, 7 goals, 25 assists, 32 points. You have Miro Heiskanen. He's only 23 years old, so he's your future. 70 games played, 5 goals, 31 assists, 36 points. Issa Linden, he's 28, 76 games played, 4 goals, 21 assists for 25 points. That's a solid from a back end. That's what that's a good top 4 guy. Yanni Hakapa, 30 years old, 80 games played, 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points. Not terrible. And then you have Thomas Harley, young ELC defenseman here. They have slotted 34 games last season, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. From a young defenseman, not bad. I think they sheltered him, obviously, when he came up. And then you have Colin Miller. I'm very familiar with Colin Miller, 29 years old, 38 games played, 2 goals, 12 assists, 14 points. And he's a solid defender when healthy. That's the big thing.
Right.
Health. So, I mean, I think this defense is, solid.
It's solid. It's solid.
I'll give them above average just because of Heiskanen and I think Sutter. And I think if Miller's healthy, he's effective too. And then if Harley can keep developing, I think that can be a very nice fit. So I think it's an above average decor. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's set up where your best guys are going to run most of the nights, and then you have some of these young guys that are stepping in, and they can learn a lot. They can play the game well. So only growth is in their future, like Harley, Heiskanen. I mean, Heiskanen, he's already growing, but I think he can probably reach one of those elite levels if he keeps growing in this fashion. I mean, outside of that, you just look at the way it's set up. You have guys that are either around the similar age, or one guy that's completely opposite of the other, which is always a good combination because the older player can give some guidance to the younger players and help them develop. Maybe, give them a tip or two, or say, hey, listen, I noticed this or whatnot. The older partner that can break it down for them and say, hey, you want to get better, you got to change this, you got to change this. Hey, let's work on this together. I'll give you this freedom and I'll cover this, and then vice versa, whatever the case is. But I think that veteran leadership that you have in the pairs themselves is only going to take them to that next level as defensive pairs.
Absolutely, I agree. And I think you have a proven star like Ryan Sutter, who, like, in his prime was an all-star, right?
Yes, he was.
Heiskanen's an all-star. I mean, you're going to have guys that have had high levels of success in the NHL, so I think that's always good for these young guys to learn from. Yep. Hopefully, Harley can kind of absorb that. Now, going into goaltending, you got Jake Oettinger, 23 years old, 6'4", big boy, 48 games played, 2.53 goals against, and a .914 save percentage, and 30 wins and 15 losses. Then as the backup, you have Scott Wedgwood, 6 foot tall, 37 games played. And it's crazy, 6 foot is now short, it seems like. 37 games played, 3.14 goals against, 910 save percentage, 13 and 15 record win-loss. I mean, I think this is a very good combo, right? Both goalies over 910 save percentage. Maybe get that goals against down a bit for Wedgwood, but I think Oettinger is obviously the future. He should be carrying the load. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes over 50 games this season. I think this team will go as far as Oettinger carries them. And he showed in the playoffs in big moments he can rise to the occasion. And it's because certain goalies will be really good regular season goalies. But what gives me a lot of hope for this franchise is, like, Oettinger rose up in series that, like, Dallas should have no business being in, and took them pretty far considering. Just saying. Like, I like Jake Oettinger. I think he can be a top 5 goalie within a few years. What are your thoughts?
I just think that this team has a lot of youth that's developing properly, slowly here and there, but it's developing very nicely. Obviously they have those bigger contracts, and you hope that they show up. But their future's exciting. When you have an outstanding goalkeeper that, especially this young at 23, a lot of goalies don't make it into the league just at 23. Normally 24, 25 is when they start getting their feet wet. But this guy's in here at 23, making it look like a video game, doing a bunch of different things. And helping his team win. And that's all you can really hope for is for a goalie to, come out there and be a star. And he's doing that, hands down. He is a very, very, very good goaltender. And then with a solid defense in front of him, it only opens up the offense for the guys up front.
Absolutely. I would have to definitely agree with that. I think he's a very solid goaltender, and it's going to add a lot of potential to this roster. Now, going into the potential side, let's go into the standings. They finished last year 4th in this division, and this is a very, very deep division. This is probably the deepest, I'd say, in the whole NHL. Mm-hmm. I mean, finished 4th, 46 wins, 30 losses, 6 OT losses, 98 points. I could see them finishing. I could actually see them finishing probably 4th or 5th again. I'm leaning more towards the 5th side of things because that offense does worry me. I mean, look at the goal differential last season. They finished higher than Nashville and had a worse goal differential. That's very, very rare.
Snuck out those games, man. I'm telling you.
So I think it'll be close. I think they could fight for a wild card spot, but yeah, I don't know. I think they'll be in the mix definitely for playoffs, but I think probably 4th or 5th. I'm leaning towards 5. What about you?
I'd say the same. I'd say 4th or 5th, and depending on some of the other teams that we still yet have to do, they're one of those teams that can sneak into a higher position if their cards play out properly, right? Because again, they still have a lot of youth on their team, a lot of fight. Considering how they fought to get into 4th last season, I think that they can top sneak out into 3rd by maybe a point, but I would expect them to stay around the number 4 spot.
I mean, absolutely. I don't see them really doing much more than that, and it's not because I don't believe in their vision. I think some youth mix is good, but I just don't think they're there yet. I think it's going to take a bit of time.